all this, bidding process, and a lot about the Indian scenario, economics aspect, all those things I have covered. There are some topics that is still we need to talk about. And that is a kind of, it's not specific to petroleum, but it's a general economics problem where we talk about capital budgeting. Okay. So, right. And in this one, what we have already talked about is NPV, IRR. Do you all remember that? Amir?
Yes, sir.
Do you remember NPV, IRR?
Yes, sir.
What is full form of NPV?
Net present value and
Okay.
internal rate of return, IRR.
Okay, and so what exactly we were trying to achieve with the NPV?
Sir, we for a particular rate of return, we estimate what is the net present value like during the cash flow.
Yeah, for any project, whatever inflow and outflow is,
Yes,
the
sir.
present value we are calculating for the entire project. Okay.
Yes, sir. And the present and the rate at which net NPV goes to zero is known as internal rate of return.
Internal rate of return that we discussed, and then also we talked about payback period, right?
Yes, sir.
Remember that?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Then now let us look at some other aspects. One is called average return on investment, and basically this average return on investment, it's a very simple way of understanding whether the project that you are going to invest in will be profitable or not. So this one is the same book that I am following. Okay, it's Project Economics and Decision Analysis, that volume 1. That so that is what the book I've been following, and so in this case, this is also referred to as ROI, return on investment, or also accounting rate of return. Okay. And it simply relates the average annual cash inflow to the average investment. Okay. So, I'll show you one example. So let's say I have this particular data set. Okay. There's a lot of data in here. Okay. But where you have expenditure, operating revenue, cumulative net cash flow, and all these things are there. It's calculated. But when you talk about average return on investment, so basically you take this. Hello. 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 So in this case, you simply take this, operating revenue that you get. Okay. So you take the gross revenue, this one, and whatever taxes and expenditure you have had, so that you can remove this one. Will you? Okay. बात कर लीजिए, मैं अभी क्लास पढ़ा रहा हूँ, अकाउंटिंग में बात कर लीजिए, जिससे है ना, आप ईमेल कर दीजिए या जो भी है, ठीक है, मैं अभी क्लास पढ़ा रहा हूँ। ओके, ठीक। So this one, okay, gross revenue minus your taxes and operational expenditure, okay, that you remove. So so let's say you will have, as I said, annual average cash flow. So ARO, average return on investment, will be this. You have 624.26. This one minus. You had 49.94 as taxes and this operational expenditure that you have had, okay, for over 15 years. Okay, this is over 15 years, and your investment is 185, right? That is your investment. Okay. So this is what your average return on investment. So basically 13.43%. If you do this, that is what you are going to get. Now, look at this. This gives you a kind of broad picture, but it is still, this one, average return on investment, does not take into account this time value of money. Okay. It's simply, as you can see, that you have this gross operating revenue and taxes and operational expenditure, and then this your investment. So this does not take into account this time value of money, and this is what though this is very quick way of knowing, okay, what's the kind of average return on investment, okay. But as you can see that I have put together all these, this limitation on this one. As I said, this does not take into account time value of money. So, इसमें जो है ना, you did not see those percentage discount factor, okay. And also the averaging process ignores the length of the life of the alternatives being evaluated. इसमें नहीं है, okay. क्योंकि इसमें देगा average return on investment उसमें था divided by 15, right? So that was for 15 long years. But the thing is, when you give this number 13% average return on investment, it does not tell you for how long this investment has been made, right? So so that part is not included. It does not give any indication about the size of initial investment. Okay, that just gives you that percentage. There is no, whether it's 1 crore or 100 crore. It doesn't give you that idea. It doesn't give any indication of the value of the project. Okay, the technique is not additive. What it means is, if one project has, let's say, return on investment 10%, and another project has return on investment as 15%, and the total ROI doesn't become simply 25%. Okay? And it does not provide any indication of capital's exposure to risk and uncertainty. Okay? Those things you remember when we were doing this cumulative cash flow, plotted against time, then we had maximum exposure. Okay? And the return on investment is not comparable with the cost of capital of the investment, okay? Because it didn't include this opportunity cost and interest rate. So, okay, so this is what we have for this average return on investment. Now, so this was our fourth point, right? We had NPV, IRR, payback period, AROI, that is return on investment. Okay. Then we'll talk about hello. How are you? Uh-huh. 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 Okay. तो वो भेज दीजिए तो मैं इधर से साइन करके भेज देता हूँ. अब आने का तो थोड़ा सा टफ लग रहा है. मैं साइन करके यहाँ से भेज दूंगा स्कैन करके. हाँ. Okay, the question is, sir, alternative point, please repeat. When see capital budgeting, मतलब क्या हुआ? You are going to invest, right? And so you will have various, projects in hand. Let's say you have project A, B, C, D, so on and so forth. Okay, and so where to invest how much? Okay, so you need to know various projects that you have in your hand. Okay? So that is what we are talking about, alternatives. Okay? Is that clear? Okay. Okay, so now before I move into another topic of profitability index, what I want to do is I want to have this quick 10 minutes quiz. And I'm going to send a link, and that is a Google form. Okay, and do that within 10 minutes. So let me send it to you. And so this is quiz 2, Petroleum Economics. I'm going to send it to Petroleum Economics. Class PE underscore BTech 2017. Quiz 2 and then send. Okay. So I have sent it now. So let us see. Amit, did you receive it?
Yes, sir.
मिल गया?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So it's 3:20. By 3:30, everybody should submit it. And I have another topic that we'll talk about, profitability index. Or, नमस्कार, बोलिए। हाँ हाँ हाँ, जॉब में है। प्रोविजन है, लेकिन दो जगह से ले नहीं सकते हैं। अच्छा। हाँ, तो क्या करना है? नहीं नहीं, वो नहीं नहीं नहीं, 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 जो आप बात है टेलर वो है, अगर हम सीखते हैं। एब्सोल्युटली। तो ये कहाँ लिख के थे? नहीं नहीं नहीं, नहीं नहीं, मेडिकल तो उनका डिफरेंट है। मेडिकल का तो वो करेंगे। ये मेडिकल, मैं मैं आपको इसका दे रहा हूँ, मेडिकल का तो उन लोगों का सीजीएचएस है। ठीक है, उनका तो अलग है। उन लोगों का सीजीएचएस का कुछ भी नहीं है। हाँ, तो जो चीज क्लेम यहाँ हो जाता है उसका कोई क्लेम नहीं कर सकते। तो वही चीज है ना, तो डिक्लेरेशन ही चाहिए ना। हाँ, मैं हाँ, ठीक ठीक। हम्म, हाँ हाँ, नहीं तो ठीक। It's already 3:27. Okay, so it's already 3:30. Okay, so hope you have submitted it. Okay, so 42 of you have submitted. So let's now start. So now let's talk about okay. So this is AROI we're talking about. Now, so the next point is this what you call PI, that is profitability index. Okay. This is called profitability index. Yeah, it's not accepting this because it's already locked. Okay, the time that I have given is till 3:30. Okay, and therefore it's not accepted. हेलो नमस्कार अभी मैं क्लास पढ़ा रहा हूँ लेकिन अभी तक वो फाइनल नहीं हुआ कुछ भी ठीक है तो हाँ तो अभी मैं क्लास पढ़ा रहा हूँ ठीक है so PI profitability index. See, when we talked about let's say NPV or IRR, okay, so actually it included all your expenditure as well as revenue and over a period of time. So it really does not reflect what is going to be the initial investment. Okay, and also IRR, because two projects, let's say I have here, let's say option A and option B. Okay, so these two projects, okay, are same NPV 100, but in one case this investment was 1,000, okay, 100,000, that is a million, and this is 100,000, and so NPV does not take into account. But the thing is, you also need to look at what is your initial investment for which you have this NPV, right? And so they may be, two of them may be equal or close, and so therefore you need to, if you look at this profitability index, this definition, basically what it has is a present value of future operating cash flow over present value of capital investment. So it takes into account this capital investment as well. And so if you go back this on this slide, so what you can calculate is for profitability index of option A is 100 plus 100. That is these two divided by this is your investment, so that is 100. So that becomes 2. Okay, and this, if you look at the second one, option D, so profitability index here is 100 plus 1,000, okay, divided by 1,000. Okay, so that becomes 1.1. Okay, so basically, when you have profitability index which is more than the other one, okay, so this is where you would want to invest. Okay. Now there is yet another. There are various ways to represent this, and so this is one is NPV over PV. of capital investment. So that is present value ratio. This is also called present value ratio. And so basically, if you were to calculate PI equals to 1 plus, you have PVR, okay, present value ratio, plus 1 is this. Then also, there are several terms: present value index, discounted profit to investment ratio, investment efficiency. There are several terms that have been coined to take into account this initial investment, size of the initial investment. So that is again an important aspect. Based on that, you can either accept or reject a particular project. So let us look at this this one once again, and let's see. In this one, you have this profitability index as 1.56. Okay, so 1.56. So basically, how is that calculated? So you can see that this one is your cumulative net cash flow, right? So 98.76 divided by your investment. How much is your investment? PV of investment. So this PV is basically it's initially. So you don't have to give the time value here because it's already there. So this is at 176.39, right? Okay. So that was present value of your investment, right? And so 1 plus this is going to give you what? This is 1.56. Okay. So now let's try to look at this particular table a bit closely, and you can generate your own table similar to this. So let us look at this. Okay. So let's say you have for every year, okay, year-wise, you have this expenditure and operating revenue. Okay, so this is revenue and operating. This is LOE is also called lease operating expenditure. Okay, LOE or OE operating expenditure, OPEX. Okay, that is also called OPEX. And the next one you have is the revenue. Okay, so here you have expenditure and taxes. Okay, so so expenditure and taxes, that gives you you have this computed ones for every year you have this. Okay, and of course this total investment that you have again is going to be under expenditure. Okay, so this is your 185. And so you can see that you have operation 185. You can think of as capital expenditure as well. Okay. So these numbers are simply summation. Okay, this number that you are seeing here is simply summation for this. There is no time value here. Okay. And for taxes also you have this, and so expenditure 436.54, and And then you have for operating expenditure, okay, so gross net, and then you have cumulative. So, okay, so that is cumulative net cash flow that you have here. And this is at discounted, okay? This is at 10% discount factor that is taken into account. So that gives you NPV, right? NPV. And so what you have is this. As you can see that here, if you look at this NPV profile, here for 10% it's not given because 10% it's 98.76, okay, for 10%, okay. So that can be taken right from there. So in this case, as you can see, that your IRR should be somewhere here, right? Because at 35% you have NPV as 4.19, and so this IRR that is comes out here as 37%, right? Rate of return. Okay. So these are different numbers that are given, and so you make your investment decisions, okay, based on these. बोलिए. Mhm. Okay. Okay. ठीक है, मैं पहले इसको करता हूँ, अभी तो मैं क्लास पढ़ा रहा हूँ, फिर बाद में करता हूँ. ठीक है, मैं भेज दूँ. मेरी क्लास पढ़ा रहा हूँ. So this one, as you can see, this 37% here, that is your internal rate of return, IRR or ROR, okay? And then you have profitability index 1.56, and payback, as you can see, payback is, it says 2.75, so it will be right here, okay? So this is 1, 2, 2.5, okay? So this is, here you have payback period, right? And so yeah, so this one, forget now this, just don't worry about this one. So which we can talk about later. But I think only up to this, I think it's all right. Okay. So you have NPV, IRR, then you also got payback period, and then you got profitability index. These are the values that you are going to have to decide about any project. Okay. Okay. So any question? Any question? Okay. So Ami doesn't have any question. Chandrahas, let me see. Chandrahas,
Yes, sir.
do you have any question?
सर ये सभी को कंपेयर करके देखेंगे कि प्रोजेक्ट ए और प्रोजेक्ट बी में कैसे है करके
Project A. See, the thing is, when you have, multiple investments choices to make, okay, then you have to put together all these together and see, decide about a particular project. Okay. Let's say, one rate of return is 37% and another is, 25%. But both of them may be okay for you in terms of IRR. Okay. Now, let's say in one case, NPV comes, let's say, a million, and another case, it comes, let's say, 0.8. NPV is still, you may be okay. But let's say if you want to look at the initial investment, okay, and then you find like, well, I do not have that much money in the beginning to invest, okay. So those are things, that becomes limitation, okay. So all these things you have to take into account before deciding about any project when you have multiple choices, okay. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And of course, there is yet another thing which I think I told you. It's something called strategy. Okay. So many times, what you end up is having a strategic investment. Strategic investment. And when that comes, okay, you do not really need to explain any of these, in terms of NPV or IRR or all these, okay? Simply, because of some strategy, you are going to invest somewhere where it can cost you more or it can cost you less, okay? But that's your strategy, a strategic investment. Many times we do that, right? Let's say, India was to buy, let's say, Rafale, okay? Now, what was that? Okay, all these different bid processes and all these things were, kept aside, and simply it was a strategy, and two countries came together to, and so that was supplied. Right? So, many times, all these economic indicators that you see are, kept aside when it comes to strategy. Shashwat, Yashraj, Yashraj, that's the kind of situation. I mean, if the students don't want to study, Anshi, I can't hear you. Yeah, that's all right. I can't hear you. Okay, so I guess there is So next, what I'm going to talk about is, many times you will see the plots where, particularly oil and gas price plots, and showing that if you were to compare, let's say oil price in 1936 compared from today, how are you going to do that? Okay. In many of these plots, okay, you see that even in 1900s, oil and gas price compared to today's price were very similar, 100, even more than that, $120. Okay. So have you seen such plots? आमिर,
Yes, sir.
ऐसा कुछ प्लॉट देखा है? नहीं.
मतलब एग्जैक्टली रिकॉल नहीं कर पा रहा हूँ, बट शायद देखा है विद ईयर सर, प्राइसेस विद ईयर ना.
Prices with year, but compared to today's price, or in terms of today's dollar, okay. Why are we talking about this? Because see, because of inflation, what happens? Your value of money decreases over time.
Yes, sir.
Okay?
Depreciation. Yes, sir.
Depreciation इसको बोलेंगे.
कमोडिटी का प्राइस अगर
कमोडिटी अगर कोई एक कमोडिटी है, लेट्स से यू हैव द लैपटॉप, अगर उसका प्राइस जो है डिक्रीज करता है ओवर अ पीरियड ऑफ टाइम, इट्स फॉर दैट पर्टिकुलर कमोडिटी दैट यू हैव. ओके.
यस सर.
ठीक है. सो दैट इज डेप्रिसिएशन ऑफ दैट पर्टिकुलर. ओके. बट वी आर नॉट टॉकिंग अबाउट दैट.
Okay.
What I am saying is, let's say, if you buy, in today's term, let's say if you can buy, or let's say, if you think about 100 rupees today, okay, how much was it worth, let's say 20 years ago? Okay.
Okay.
ठीक है. तो इस चीज को हमें देखना है. ठीक है. तो उसके लिए हम क्या करेंगे? So typically what you get is, retail price index, okay, that is published every year. And so you can get some of these table that I'm showing you. So let's say inflation statistics, okay, here, okay. So inflation statistics, you can get, Chandraha says inflation adjusted price. Okay, so that is right. So inflation adjusted price. Okay. So this kind of data you can get even online. Okay. So UK retail price index. Okay. Where there is some references given. So let's say 1985, that's 100. Okay. So that's the reference that is given. And then annual retail price index, it's given here 6.5 to 9.18, and all these numbers that is given. So you can see that how inflation has affected. In fact, if you look at this data, you can clearly see that during this time, okay, how much inflation UK had, okay. in terms of percentage. And later on, as you can see that, and this is still, I have this data up to 2004. Maybe I should get this data to recent ones. So I'll see if I can find these numbers to complete this. And also, I think it's only for, right? Okay, take an effect. Okay, so and also that you can see, at that time, what was this West Texas Intermediate and Middle Eastern Light and UK marker is all these prices that you can see. And so we'll do one exercise tomorrow to see how we can adjust it. Okay, so this is what we'll do tomorrow. Okay, so it's already 4 o'clock, and I stop here, and we'll do this tomorrow. Take care. Chalo, bye.